were any better, I would explode. Episode 90.
90. Wow.
90. Is that been the same pad you've been using? Or
All
is that a
along.
new pad? Oh, really?
Same
Look
one.
at that. That's
See?
amazing. You know, whenever we're done with our run here, it may end up in the Smithsonian
It could.
because this is the foremost premier historical Rocky Files podcast.
So much
Well,
fun.
it has been a eventful weekend.
Yeah.
It has been huge. But before we get into what's been happening, 1990, what went on in Sylvester Stallone land?
Rocky 5. Ooh, ooh, ooh,
So
5.
Rocky 5, this is such a precarious topic, but you know what? Since this is our show, I'm going to show Rocky 5 lots and lots of love.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, when we had Sly with that video that he did specifically for the Rocky Files,
That's right.
He had talked about his own issues with Rocky 5 that he wishes he had done differently. And one of them was the street fight. And he did a great analogy. You show up for the Daytona 500, and it's in a cornfield.
Right.
But after having 4 Rockies all in the ring, I don't know what. So I felt you needed something different. Another fight in the ring would have only been that's what the critics would have said.
Right.
I thought the way it went was great. Now, Rocky 5, most fans consider that being a flawed movie. Sure. Okay. Sly will be the first to admit that. But I just don't think it's horrible.
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, I just enjoy it. And I think it's also true to life because a lot of celebrities, sports stars, I think actors and so on, things happen where they lose their money. I could think of MC Hammer. He's one off the top of my head. What's his name? Passenger 57, Expendables 3, Wesley Snipes. Right? Didn't pay his taxes. Then he had to pay all that money. Then he went to jail, right? And then you got Willie Nelson. So, you know, these things do happen. And I thought Rocky 5 was a great way to just put a little, cautionary tale. What's your thoughts on Rocky 5?
Well, I don't think Rocky 5 was more about a personal transition or personal growth. Like he had personal growth in Rocky 3 because he had to transition from Mickey over to Apollo and all that growth there. But this was again. So now he's taking on the Mickey role for this kid who doesn't really understand what the industry is. He's trying to protect him the way Mickey was trying to protect Rocky.
Yes.
He's trying to wear that hat. So if you're playing Mickey, you're not going to get in the ring. You're protecting a fighter. And then I've said before, you have to really prioritize. If someone's not listening, you need to stop talking. Like you need to stop spinning your wheels when you know your intent for someone is for their greater good and they're just dismissing you. Stop. And to me, Rocky 5 is about understanding what's really important. That's the lesson. What's really important. Nothing's more important than your family and your son. Nothing.
And the thing about that, you're so right. The thing about that is Rocky knew that the whole time he was failing his family, he knew there was nothing more important than family. But like he says in that great scene, and it is a great scene, it's my last chance for him and the family to get back what he felt he had lost. And but he lost his way a little bit in there, and he got too over into Tommy Gunn's life and all of that. So, and then Tommy Gunn, of course, did what Tommy Gunn did. But again, Rocky did not fail as much as he was just overly trying. He got caught up in the process.
Yes.
But his intentions were good, you know?
Oh, the whole time. But I think the lesson there is how long do you hope for someone? It's how long. Not that you don't give your time to people, not that you don't guide, not that you don't do all the things that he did.
Right.
But how long before you step back and say, you know what? He's going to have to learn it the hard way. And I think he was just hoping so much and so hard and that he's going to get through and he couldn't get through. And that made him crazy.
Right, totally. Rocky
So,
Five, there people can say what they want about it, but I can tell you this: Sly knows it has its issues. He
mhm.
would like an opportunity to recut it, and there is a work print that's out
Yeah.
there that was put
So
together. I happen to have a copy of it, and there's some
Yep.
great stories in there.
Mhm.
It is kind of good, the work
Yeah.
print. I will say
Oh, it
that.
is.
And Sly has seen it recently, and he knows that it's pretty good. So that's the thing. I hope someday Sly can get around to recutting it, but who knows? He's a busy guy. I mean, he's in
Yeah.
Mississippi right now on some bridge filming an armored
Right?
bank robbery
Right?
movie. I don't know. What it's crazy, but the guy's just got this crazy work ethic,
Right.
and it's you gotta salute it. You
Eh,
gotta salute it.
Speaking of Mississippi, Miss Carol, while you're there,
Yeah.
needs to find out where the set is and
Oh, that's
perhaps
true.
go grab some pictures. I said it to her in a in a post. I'm like, "You're in Mississippi, you know what your mission is." So,
Carol is like a founding member of the
yes,
Rocky
she
Files fan
is.
club, right?
Oh
So
my
she
god,
should be
yes.
out there saying, with the Rocky Files. I'm Carol with the Rocky Files, and I've
Yes!
got an interview for you, Sly. Just bring him, and you never know. Maybe he'll go for it.
Oh, Carol, there's your mission, sweetheart. I would love to see her be able to just meet him for her own self, you know what I mean? She's
I know.
so Stallone faithful in a million ways, but yes, she
She
is down
is.
there. Big week.
Oh, this Saturday was a huge day. Oh, was it Thursday or Friday? Was the not the grand opening. It was the opening. The grand opening's coming. It was
Mhm.
the opening of the SLY Stallone shop in Philadelphia at the base of
Amazing.
the Rocky Steps.
Yeah,
My
look at
God.
that. So cool. This was I think this is announcement.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. From
And
Sly. That's what Sly wrote. And you can always pause the screen. Anyone, if you guys are watching, just pause it and you can read this if you didn't read it
mhm,
already. There you go. There's
there's
some of
the
all the
inside.
shorts, the robes, the Italian Stallion jacket, the Eye to Tiger jackets on the bottom row there. They got the Rambo. I'm so glad they got that because
Some Rambo stuff.
I
Mhm,
wore my shirt so much. I need a new one. So
mhm.
next time I go there, I am going to get, and you can see on the lower right-hand side, you can see the hat boxes. They're
Somebody
there.
has a, hat
Okay.
problem.
All right. All right. So here's the thing. I was telling Stacy about the what was the name of the movie?
I
Conspiracy
get
Theory.
Oh, conspiracy theory. Yes, yes. Mhm.
Mel Gibson, Julia Roberts. I may get some of the facts wrong, but the gist of it is Mel Gibson is this ex-spy or analysis, whatever, and
Right.
they do something to him where he is compelled to buy Catcher in the Rye. So he has to buy like 8, 9, 10 copies. Whatever
Right.
copies are in a bookstore, he's got to buy. Okay.
Mhm.
So check out the movie. It's really, really good. Julia Roberts is Julia Roberts. She's always perfection. Okay.
Right.
Anyways,
Right.
so I have a similar affliction. All right. It's the one thing I can't stop. So when I was, and I'm going to try to be as brief as I can by this. So my first Rocky hat that I had was given to me by my grandfather. This is
Mm.
my grandfather's hat that he wore for years. Okay. You can see it's got the striping, the stitching all
Mhm.
right here. Okay. Now this band, this is what what's left of the band. The band fell off a long time ago, but
Wow.
it's just a Stetson. That's all that
Nice.
this is. But it's made the same way like Sly's was with that
Mhm.
cardboard in there. Okay.
Got
So
it.
that's this hat. Now I bought a dozen hats that were not even close to it. I thought they were, and then when I got so those I got rid of. I don't have the ones that aren't even remotely close to it,
Mhm.
but I've
Mhm.
had a collection. Then I went to Barron's Hollywood Hat Makers, who made the Rocky 5 hat and made the Creed 1 and Creed 2 hats. Now,
Wow.
of course, Rocky's hat is a dark navy, but
Mhm.
I did not believe them, and this is a black hat. Now, you can see this is the hat I had since I started my tours.
Wow.
It is really beat up. The inside has been redone with a new leather band on there. This way you'll see
Nice.
Barron's.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this still works. It basically, well, I got my headphones on, forgot I had them on. Sorry. And so when that crapped out on me, I needed a new hat, right?
Right.
Was around the same time 3 years ago when Sly brought out the Rocky Balboa hat on the Sly Stallone shop. Now,
Right.
you can see it has this almost charcoal appearance. It's
Right.
faded. Underneath, you can see is the darker navy, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Anyways, it's so beat up inside that it's cracking. The band is cracking on it because I wear it all the time. I had to buy a new hat.
Of course.
Right? So you can see you can see the two differences.
Oh, yes.
The new hat, right? And yeah, you can see this is much much better. But the problem is the other hat was an extra large. It was too big, so I had to doctor it up. This is a large. I have a hat stretcher that I put in it, and you rotate it, and it stretches the band. So when I put it on, it slips on perfectly. So I'll have it sitting like this for a few days, and it will be ready to rock and roll. Yeah. So I came out of there and I bought 3 pairs of the Rocky shorts. I bought Rocky 2, Rocky 3, and of course Rocky 4, the red, white, and blue ones. So you know, it for me, I mean, it's all the tax write-off,
right?
Which is great. That's the only way I can sell it to Sue, because without that, she's like, really? Another one?
Hey, it's the work uniform.
It's the work uniform. I'm sorry, I have to have it. You want me to look my best, right?
Right.
No, she totally understands. But again, that does sort of help things. But it was great. So I went in there and I talked to the lady who's running it, and we had a bunch of mutual friends in common in the Philadelphia area and the businesses and so on, tourism industry. And so I'm working with them on, they're going to end up promoting my tours via the tourism bureau and a whole bunch of, it's great. It's great. So it was an amazing day there. And it was jammed with people. They just kept coming in. They go in one door and out the other. And they armloads of stuff. So it really is the only place in Philadelphia you can find officially licensed MGM/Sylvester Stallone endorsed clothing. I mean, that you gotta go there, people.
Yeah.
Every single tour I have, they ask me all the time, where can we go? And I always say the Independence Visitor Store, because that's really the only other store there. But it's not like they paid for the rights for MGM to sign on to it, but it's not. It's nice stuff. There's like snow globes and coffee mugs and a few t-shirts and so on. But the SLY Stallone shop, that's where it's at. So check it out.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I think I don't know if they're going to outgrow it, because did they sell out in 2 days or something? I saw a sold out post somewhere along the line.
I did too. I don't know what the merchandising, what the level of merchandise is, like what they have stored. I know they had a lot there.
Yeah.
When I was there was a dozen tiger jackets, a dozen Italian stallion jackets, robes, shorts, statues, pancake makers, flip-flops, t-shirts, everything. Yeah, the pancake. I'm thinking about getting one, although I may put that down for my Christmas gift list for Sue.
Smart. That's a good one.
I might.
That's
I know.
a good one.
I know. So anyways, that was the SLY Stallone shop, and just SLY, well done on it.
Yes.
Well done, my friend.
So happy for him. It took him a long time, so I'm glad that they were able to do it. Speaking of shops, there's an Etsy shop.
There is.
Yeah. Do you happen to know who that belongs to?
Well, I know someone in the Kunda family is doing something. Look at that. JDK Craftsman. Look at that on Etsy.
See that center tray right there?
I have one of those center trays.
Boom.
Did you get one too?
I did.
Look, that really is nice.
Look at how beautiful. And just the work. I mean, and can I just tell you how much I love that they do this together?
I know they do.
That is so sweet. So Jay does the woodwork, and it's all smooth finish. There's no you couldn't even catch your nylons on here. Not that you're wearing nylons, but you know how some wood surfaces catch everything. It's so smooth that it wouldn't. And then of course all this ocean work here, and Deb does that, and it looks so real to life, and there's like a little sparkly effect in there. It's gorgeous. So I bought that, and I just wanted to tell folks who like that oceanside vibe that their Etsy store is the place to go.
They got so much, and we're working on. There's
Mm-hmm.
more things Jay and I are going to work on too for Rocky related. That's nice trademark. Like you know, we have ideas about picture frames. You know, when people take the tour, they really like the idea. They take pictures of themselves with the gym rising up in back of them. What if they had a 3D frame with the gym on it? Now, we wouldn't put Mickey's poster above we would just have the wooden frame. It would be stained or painted or whatever. And then maybe the skyline of Philly with maybe the tour emblem or something on it, because fans love that type of stuff. They love tchotchkes.
True.
Stacy. They do. I
Absolutely.
do. I've been going to Atlantic City for 35 years with Sue, and I still buy a stupid tchotchke at the store.
Every
Something,
time.
a crab, a
Yep.
lobster that has like a coffee mug theme to it or something.
Right.
Something because I love tchotchkes. And
I do too.
I'm not the only one, right? Because you have a good time, so you want to remember that good time. And so we're working on a bunch of things like this. So my brother is very skilled, very talented, and far more than I am. He took his talents in the woodworking phrase and ways. And, beautiful work. Beautiful.
Yeah. And then I just want to remind folks about our dear friend Roz, who's been on with us twice. I want to say congratulations to her. She is in the middle of training for the Philadelphia Marathon. What did she say today? There's 41 or 42 days left. She just eclipsed 18 miles on Saturday. And I would just encourage everybody to go over to her Instagram page. It is hard. It's hard. And she's documenting every step of the way. And she's, again, as always, she is such an inspiration I love how she posts the hard days and the good days, and she keeps going. So she's just all the things. And then
I'd like to get her back on after to see how she's done.
Yeah.
And we could kind of go over her journey a little bit and talk about that. So Roz, listen, I don't know if you'd be up for it, but Stacy, you think that'd be all right to bring her back?
Well, it's funny that you bring that up because Austin has his own fitness story. He has lost weight. He is in the gym. Wait till you see him. He's part of the new opener. And I was thinking about Stephanie. I was thinking of a New Year's resolution episode with Stephanie, Roz, Austin, and also Adam James, because they all have fitness, weight loss journeys related to being inspired by Rocky. So I kind of wanted to do like a little group thing. So they're finding out about that right now. So that's my idea.
You're always thinking. You're always thinking.
But yeah, so she has a fundraiser for ovarian cancer, which she is a survivor of and will continue to be. And so that is her mission as she's training for Philadelphia. And we love you, Roz. And I just wanted I'll put up the link here to support her cause. So what else do we got?
That's it. We're done. We're out of here. There's no guests, nothing. I'm going to go take a nap. So anyways, goodbye, everybody.
Actually, before we go, I do have one. I want to say congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. They did win.
Oh,
yes.
Look at that. 5-0.
5-0. So we're so proud
Birds.
of them. And then some of us have Eagle spirit and some of us don't. So I put out a little post that said, hey, who's your favorite player? And I got an answer from everyone about who their favorite player was, except our dear friend in Canada, Tim Wistard, was like, none of them.
No, here's the problem with Tim. Tim, I'm not supposed to. Tim and I went drinking one night. We had some wild turkey and some Southern Comfort. And Tim invited me up. There was this little pub called Out of the Way, eh? And so we went up there and we were sitting there. And he said, Mike, you know what? He goes, I don't want you to tell anyone this. He goes, but I really am a closet Philadelphia Eagles fan. He goes, the problem was, he goes, I bet a lot of money on Ron Jaworski many years ago and I lost. He goes, and I couldn't forgive them. He goes, but I always pull for the Eagles. So, Tim, I know secretly you do love the Eagles. You always pull for them. And since you can't chime in right now, well, I guess you could chime in on the chat. Let's see. Stacy, is he talking? Oh, there he goes. It looks like he's talking right now. Look at that. Tim, I'm only teasing. Of course, it wasn't wild turkey; it was Jack Daniels, and so we will correct that. So,
and happy Canadian Thanksgiving
yes,
to everybody, which is today. We're recording
Monday.
Monday.
Yes, I forgot that.
Everyone up there.
I can't wait for our Thanksgiving because it's October, and this month is as I feel in my house, it's the opening festivities, like the Olympic opening festivities for the games. Right. In my house, it's the opening festivities for the Christmas season. They start the month of Halloween, and boom, off we go.
When do the lights go out outside? When do
outside?
Yeah.
They'll go up probably, I would say, the first week of November. They won't go on for a little bit. Although this year, because it's a lot of work and because I'm very busy with my tours.
Right.
So what we're going to do is I'm thinking, see, last year I did something different. I left the lights on all the big trees. Okay. So I have about 12 sets of lights per tree. So you got to, and I don't know what, 20 feet per set, whatever it is, 25 feet. Yeah. So by big trees. So I have to roll up each light and then I tuck them away. So it takes me a day to decorate the trees. So I just left them up. Now in the wintertime, when it's like February and you pull into the driveway, Sue goes, "Oh, those trees look horrible with the lights on them. I just don't like them at all."
She's gonna punch you in the face.
She doesn't sound she's not gonna see this episode. Screw it. As she sits across from me and she throws popcorn at me or something. No, but so I said, okay, yes, I admit it looks a little trashy right now. I said, however, by April, the leaves will be in. You won't see it. And then she forgot about it until we had a big winter storm and there's strands of lights hanging off the trees. So I had to go through and fix them anyways. But anyways, it will go up November, and probably the second week of November, I'll start hitting the lights. Nice. Testing the lights.
Testing the lights.
Yes. Anyways. Hey, Stace.
Hey.
We're out of here, or we got a guest? What's the deal?
No, we got quite a guest who we wanted
we
specifically for 90.
We do. I put a request in to upper management to bring this guy in because this guy coming in, he's somebody I've followed for a number of decades. Before social media, I was aware. Once I first got online, this little thing called the internet that nobody thought would ever take off. I would always, I don't even know if Googling was a thing back then, but I would go on, I would look for anything Stallone related. And of course, the internet was it was in its infancy. And one name kept coming up, Jade Roberts. Yeah. Jade Roberts. And I thought, Jade Roberts, what the hell kind of name is that?
Cool name. Yeah.
This is something I have had a huge question about, and only the man himself can answer. Jade Roberts. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk a great deal about Jade's career and how he figures prominently in the Rocky universe. Stacy, would you bring him in?
Hey, there he is. Look at that. Nice.
Hey, yo. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, yo, Mike, you're supposed to be on set. We're shooting Rocky 15, Rockier than ever. You know?
Exactly. See, this is the problem. Us Rocky impersonators, Stallone impersonators, we've taken so much virtual punches over the years. Right. We forget our math skills at times. Exactly right. But could you imagine if there was a Rocky 15? It would be years after Sly is he's retired and some beautiful Florida beach, and you and I come in, and you and I are in like a retirement community, and because we've been playing Rocky so much, we think we're the character, and somehow we're in our wheelchairs going around, and we see a guy who reminds us of Apollo Creed, and we go after him, and all of a sudden Stallone's in the same retirement home that we're in. Like, there would be a great movie for Rocky 5. It would be great. It's the 15. See, I just did it. Yes. I just did it. Rocky 5 15.
Hey, and I'm ready. I got mixed gym here.
Nice.
No, man, I just, hey, we should do something together. That would be a riot.
Totally. Could you imagine that?
I used to always think in the beginning that I look like maybe Stallone's nephew or his younger son or something way, way back.
Yeah.
And now we've got you, and you're younger than me. Hey, we got the whole all these generations of Rocky.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? It really is something how this character has affected fans not only across the world, but specifically you and I. So I want to jump right into it. For those of you who don't know, Jade Roberts he's an actor, but he's also a Sylvester Stallone tribute artist, impersonator. There's a lot of different terms out there. What it's called that we do. For me, Jade, before we start, I have got to ask you about your first name. Was that your birth name?
No. The story behind that. Do we have a few minutes?
Of course.
All right. The story behind that. There's a man, and he still exists. He was my first manager agent/agent. And his name is Ski Lawrence. So with a name like Ski Lawrence, wouldn't you expect an unusual name? Hey.
Right.
So my birth name is Kevin.
Okay.
He comes into my life and he says, hey, you look like Sylvester Stallone. We can make some money. I was an actor. I was a stuntman. I was on soap operas in New York. And he's from New York, you know. So, and I'm in Dallas. I'm in Texas. I'm working as a bouncer.
Right.
He befriends everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, who is this? What is this? Who is this con artist? But all I could think of is no one is, this is before the internet. You're talking about the internet. Before the internet. So we would send photos out trying to promote. That was it, to the agencies, you know, mail them. Actually, I snail mail. He comes up and he says, hey, I can help you out. I'll just charge you a small percentage, but we need to come up with a better name. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with my name? Okay. He says, you're playing an Italian character. Kevin doesn't work. So you think of some names and I'll think of some names. And he comes back the next day. I have no clue. I haven't come up with anything. And he says, I was thinking Slade Roberts, but it's already taken. So how about Jade? Jade Roberts. And I'm like,
wow.
Okay. I guess. Yeah. Hey, if we can make some money, I don't care.
I guess. Sure.
Right. So, and then of course, then I found out mostly it was female. It was a female name. It was a lot of females named Jade, you know, but it was different, unique. So that's it. He lives in Salt Lake City. He still exists. We're still great friends. Yeah. He was my first manager agent. We went to Italy together and did a whole tour and everything.
So as a kid, you didn't have the repercussions of a name like Jade, because I was just telling Stacy, Jade to me is equally as hard to live with as a child as Sylvester is, right?
Yeah. Well, good point. Good point. Yeah.
And I was wondering how, okay, so that makes a lot of sense. So what were you in your early 20s when that happened?
I was mid-20s.
Mid-20s, okay.
I was about 26, and I was working in this nightclub, and I was doing some acting lessons, and I'd already done won some lookalike contests, but I just I wasn't getting the gigs. I was trying to figure out how to get booked, because people were constantly telling me I look like Stallone.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Stallone, since I was in high school. So, you know, and I kept hearing it. And I thought, you know what, instead of being teased, make it a tease, make it something positive. So then I started, pursuing it as a way to I don't know, you know, it was kind of a challenge in the beginning. And as a kid, I had a tape recorder, so I already did voices. I loved doing voices. I wanted to be a DJ, I think, an announcer. And so I worked on voices. And when the movie first came out, this friend of mine and I, good friend, we went to the movie and came out, and we were both doing the voice. And it was like, okay, yeah, absolutely, I could do a little bit of the voice, you know. And my friend was, you know, he was like, I can't let you do a better Rocky than me, you know.
Right. So to me, in both of our lives, your grandfather and my grandfather played a very prominent role. Your grandfather had an old tape reel that you used.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, how you got into doing what it is you're doing.
Okay, the tape part. So first of all, I was thinking about this earlier, and I've done a few interviews, not too many podcasts or interviews over the years, but I thought, how did I get into this, the entertainment business? And I was a shy kid. I was not someone that was looking for attention. I didn't sign up for drama in high school. I was a kid with I enjoyed, and I had a talent for the voices, and I thought it was funny. And then in high school, we would joke around and do skits, and we actually made some films, a Super 8 film, and we go back with a cassette player and do the audio. The ADR was a cassette player, and we try to match it, you know. But my first one was a reel-to-reel. Like you said, I had a reel-to-reel that my parents had and a little microphone with a cord. And I would, you know, say, this is WKR3, Cincinnati, you know, Marquette, Michigan, whatever. And I just loved doing that. So I didn't really do any entertainment. I was doing things with my friends when I was in high school, but I never dreamed. Like I said, I didn't really pursue it until I started getting in college, my first lookalike contest. That was my taste.
Now, this is interesting. Now, you go as a kid, you get a Super 8mm film camera. You're putting it together with the tape reel. You're having experience and exposure to this acting, and this is what sets you in drive. It's not Rocky. It's the acting bug that hooks you.
Right. Wow. Exactly. It wasn't Rocky. It was the acting bug, and then when I worked at a movie theater. Okay, that's another important thing.
Yeah.
I worked at a movie theater when I was started college, and I was a doorman, an usher, and then I became a projectionist. For those couple of years, I saw all the movies. I saw, Burt Reynolds and the Star Wars and Superman, the first Superman. All those movies came out. Grease, Saturday Night Live, of course. And of course, most people would just love to be on the movies, right? Who wouldn't want to be in a movie? Most people went, wow, that would be really cool. Well, we started doing at the movie theater. I had a friend who was a Ronald McDonald guy. He dressed up
wow. Come on.
He also was a part-time magician named Bill. His name was Bill. And he says, I got this camera here. Why don't we shoot some stuff as you as Rocky? And so I dressed up, sweatsuit, little hat, the little toboggan, and the knit hat. And then he had a bag of popcorn on the roof. And so my first Rocky film was we punch in a bag of popcorn.
That's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's great.
And then guess what? Star Wars came out. They needed someone to play Darth Vader. Well, I was tall. They came up with this very rudimentary costume with a mask, and they put me in the mall, had me walk around the mall as Darth Vader. Well, we had access to the Darth Vader outfit, right? So what does Bill say? Hey, let's shoot something with Star Wars with you, Darth Vader. So we went to my sister was managing another theater. We went to that theater, and we did a silent movie with me in the projection booth with Star Wars on the screen. It was off hours, and then I did slapstick. I was falling, tripping, flipping my the Darth Vader robe on stage, dancing.
Yeah.
And so that was my first acting. Kids, that was it. That
was great.
But I was encouraged by, and then I was always told, I go to a bar, yo Adrian, I hear yo Adrian, I'm in my 20s. Right. I'm like, what? And it would kind of tick me off, And then in high school, the guys would call me Kevin Balboa and Rocky Roberts. So I was constantly being encouraged until I went to Auburn University. A lady from the Holiday Inn was working at Sears and Roebuck.
Yes, you were.
Right?
In the men's department.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You picked up on some of the stuff I put out there already.
Of course.
Yeah. So I go to the Holiday Inn, and it's $50. I bring all my friends. She goes, you're going to win. People don't look like anybody. You're going to win. She told me like 3 times.
Yeah.
It was in Columbus, Georgia. Auburn's like, 20 minutes away.
Okay.
And I won first place. The other guy, a bunch of drunks, and the radio station was there. Hey, can we interview you? Do the voice too? Absolutely. So what's Buck is doing outside? Oh, he's outside right now, and I'm about to give him a good bone. Buck likes a really good bone. I don't settle for those cheap bones. I got to get him a really good bone. You know what I mean? So they were like, oh yeah, Rock takes a lot. So that was my first experience with all this stuff. Trying to do something with it. So,
yeah.
And I want your movie, your documentary was amazing because I could relate so much to that. Just when you went to those first appearances and you're like nervous, you're like, okay, I'll do a good job. Here we go. I know exactly how that feels, right?
Oh my God. And the thing is when we went to Ohio, it was the most un-Rocky city in the world. Nobody cared about Rocky. And this guy, who was a very nice guy, he had this Italian, Mama Roberto's, he had this nice restaurant. No, this is a blue-collar working town, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's Friday night. Nobody wants to be bothered. They're taking their families out to get caught up on the week. And here I am. This guy brings me, and he doesn't realize the self-awareness thing. Nobody cares. They don't want to have like an Elvis, a sweaty, ugly Elvis impersonator come around. Hey, baby. Much less a Rocky guy. So it was Stallone night. They bring me in. It was in the middle of filming The Pretender. It was an utter disaster as it's in the movie. But there is a thing of perseverance. Jade.
Yeah.
And that is the thing that I think you can really relate to. I can relate to our mutual friend Eric, who was Willis's stand-in for so long. We can relate to those either early days or those times, even when we're well crafted in what we do, but it's not working for anybody. And you're like, but you're paid to be there, to do it. And you've got to let go of all the insecurities, and you got them. I got them. We all got them. And you've got to deliver. How do you do that? Where do you go in your mind to succeed?
Well, that reminds me of a quick story. I may not have even remembered to talk about this story because it's not a pleasant experience, of one of my first gigs. And it was in an Italian restaurant in the Dallas area called what? The Italian Stallion.
No, really?
Yes. And it was owned by this Hispanic fellow, and he was known in the restaurant business. I think the statute of limitations is gone, but I can say this. Yeah. I think he was like arraigned for let's just say a violent act against someone, maybe someone in his family or something. And so I knew about this. So I was kind of careful. And it may not have been as bad as it was a rumor or whatever I heard, because I didn't research it. So anyway, we go to Italian. I get hired to this restaurant. He says, I want you to dress up. You got your Rocky outfit. So I didn't have a Rocky outfit. I had to borrow it from a guy who had Old Chicago Pizza in Arlington, Texas, who had the Rocky 3, the gold robe, right?
Okay.
Am I correct? Rocky 3, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
With Italian Stallion on the back. He had the motorcycle, gloves, everything. And I think I even had he had everything. He got it from an auction or something. So I was dressed. I had to borrow it. This restaurant had hardly anyone in it. And it just so happened the owner wasn't even there when I was doing this thing. And it was like, I think it was one day and one night, like several hours. We had agreed on a price. The only one there at the end of the day and end of the night was the manager, this very nice lady. The first thing I had to do, guess what? The nightmare of standing out front with a sign on the road.
Oh, Christ. What? It's like you're one of those guys, come get your taxes done at Liberty Taxes.
I'm flipping the sign, yeah. They're dressed up like the Statue of Liberty, right?
Oh, my.
So I'm out there, and I'm in my Italian Stallion outfit. And people are beeping and stuff, and I don't even know. And it was kind of a rural highway area. It wasn't like downtown when there were a lot of people. It was like, hey, come on. So I was out there a couple hours, and I go inside. Now, just to talk about the discrepancies between me and Mr. Stallone. I'm taller. I'm younger, but I'm taller, and I have a different build. I'm not built like you got more SLY's built. You're more stocky. I'm more of a tall. I'm more like Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
Build, right? So I'm, and I don't have the biggest calves either. Not that SLY does either.
I know.
So this guy's at the bar, and I'm doing now I haven't done this a lot. Remember, all I've done is lookalike contest. So I'm walking around. Hey, yo, how you doing? So there's a guy at the bar. Maybe there were 20, 30 people in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And he looks over at me. He's got his beer, and he's this old redneck Texan, and he says, Stallone's in better shape than you are.
Christ.
And I'm like, oh my God. Not only am I like, I don't know what I'm doing. This isn't the best, I'm not getting the best reception. Kind of like that restaurant you went to.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't even remember what I said. I don't know what I said. But I just kind of went, okay, thanks a lot or something. I don't know. And I just walked off. But so at the end of the night, here's another thing. They paid me like half of what they promised.
Oh, come on.
He paid me in cash. She paid me in cash. And I said, wait a minute, this is only half of it. She says, well, this is all he told me to pay you. I was like, oh man. So I had my feelings hurt a couple of times, wasn't getting the pay. and wanted to wring the guy's neck. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, he's been indicted for possibly violent acts against someone without me saying exactly.
Right.
Because I don't know. Maybe
right.
See this interview. So I'm not even, and it may not have been true. Okay.
Right. No. I believe that. But the image in your mind, you're imagining baseball bats, lead pipes, and
broken thumbs.
Yeah.
Like
the
local mafia. This is back in the 80s. And I ran into him later. I was working a trade show and he had his kids with him and we took pictures. I didn't want to bring, hey, by the way, you cheapskate, you still owe me $200,
right.
No. So yeah, man, I got you. I understand, Mike, totally. So that's why I could relate to because we've done that, and I've done movies and I've done Rambograms where you show up.
Yeah.
And then you show up and the women are there and it's a farmhouse. It's like a warehouse and they're having a party. It's like a bachelorette party and they're going, hey, when you going to dance? Aren't you going to take your clothes off? Hey, old lady, I'm doing Rambo. I'm not a stripper. All right.
Right.
And I like $75 or something.
Right. So now, Jay, that begs to bring up the next point. One of the things I'm very famous for talking about is, what does a Rocky impersonator do? We all know an Elvis impersonator. We know what they do, right? That's easy.
Yeah.
But a Rocky impersonator, so you get that figured out. What does a Rambo impersonator do? I mean, he kills people. I mean, what do you do other than just showing up and looking? Now you have to interact because you're being paid. That's a heavy thing to carry, man.
Yeah, it's more physical. So it's more like, what does Rambo do in the movies?
Yeah.
He says a few words, what does he say? He says, they drew first blood. So I do a mystery dinner show with this group called Celebrity Mystery Theater. And we've done it for many years. We've done it at local restaurants. We've done it for corporate events. And I play one of the one of the characters that actually is potentially the murderer in the show. And I do Rambo with a wig, of course. And the lines are kind of funny. They're okay, like I come in and I say, hey, what is this place? Oh, hey, lady, I'm kind of hungry. You finished with the meatballs? I've been paddling down Turtle Creek and surviving on whatever I can find. Things with the shells on their back and they snap at you and everywhere. What are they called on Turtle Creek? And then in Austin Powers says, turtles? And I'm like, oh, yeah. I don't know. Maybe they was armadillos. I don't know. But hey, I heard them, and then I talk about Marilyn Monroe or Cher.
Right.
And, a lot of people wouldn't feel this way, but I consider myself sensitive. So I go over there to see this piece of crap because nobody dumps a weapon of mass distraction like Marilyn. I come up to this room and there's people, there's guys in the room and I say, hey, you going to apologize? I might have to cut your lungs out. I'm handing them back to you on a blade. And he sees it my way, so that kind of thing. So you kind of, you got
do little plays on the personalities of the character. Yeah. See, I love that. I think that's very, very interesting. And I would imagine a dinner theater would love that. They see you, they see Columbo come out, Austin Powers, and so on. This is a very entertaining night. That would be a lot of fun. I could imagine that. Stacy, wouldn't you enjoy something like that?
Yeah. And I love how you're sort of dedicated to Stallone and all of Stallone's characters, and I have so many pictures here. And as you've been talking, but I didn't want to interrupt you. I want to show off some of these things.
Stacy, young lady, we need your input.
She's smarter than the both of us put together, Jay. Trust me.
This isn't a stag show. This is, with the lovely lady that puts them in. Yeah, I think she runs this whole operation basically, doesn't she?
She does. Oh, she does. Oh, yeah.
Right. I've noticed. It's good.
Thank you.
She does a great job. Anyway, Stacy, so what were you thinking? Yeah, there's a lot of different characters, right? This Stallone is done, but you're only going to get hired for the popular ones, right?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Now, Stacy, you said you had some pictures. What do you got?
I do. Well, first of all, I think it's interesting when you said that guy said to you, well, Stallone's in better shape than you. Well, you took care of that right here.
Oh, yeah. That one. Oh, you snagged that one. Oh, hey, look at her. You got you went to my face.
I
did on the ball.
I trolled you a little bit.
That one there, obviously, I'm much younger. That was in Italy, guys. That was
really
nice.
Yeah, I worked
brilliant.
for that company, and I did Rambo. That was a Rambo gig. So
right. Okay.
Modeling. Yeah, and that was a photo taken by Ski Lawrence, my manager.
Oh, neat.
That was it for a gig. Yeah. Oh, that was. It's kind of blurry. You know how pictures get when you try to move them around and send them. That was it. That was literally.
I know where that is.
Yeah.
All right, now let's go back to that one for a second, Stace.
Sure.
All right. So you're in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
So now tell me the clearance you have to get a bow and arrow.
Right.
What do tourists do? This is pre 9/11, right?
Yes, in 1986.
Okay. All right. So take us through this moment.
So the man that hired me, his name was Michelangelo Giuliani.
Wow.
And
Polish
I was on
name.
Rye
Nice Polish name.
What's that? Yeah, Polish name. Yeah. Mike, but I meant to ask you. So you're Italian and then a mix or what?
Yeah, my father's Sicilian.
Yeah.
And my mother's Ukraine Polish.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I knew there was a mix there. I'm more of a mix than that, but I couldn't even. I have no available Italian DNA that I can pull from. I just basically try real hard, you know.
You and me both.
Yeah, right. But anyway, so back to so I was working for Rye. This was Ron Smith gig back in '86.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never been out of the country. Ski Lawrence, my manager, talks to him and says, "Look, this kid's never been out of the country. Let's set it up so I go with him and I can be his valet and take care of things." And so Ski got a free trip. They paid for his hotel, his food, everything.
Wow.
And we met this guy on set on the TV show named Michelangelo, and he was a famous back then photographer. He did all kinds of photos for Excelsior magazine, which was kind of like the Playboy of Italy, of Europe back then. And so he said, "I want to hire you. Can you stay a few more days?" So I stayed an extra week, and that particular shot there. So I came back a month later, and I think we shot there. Yeah, because we shot at the Roman Aqueduct too. He knew people. You know, he was well known, so he had a lot of clout. But yeah, before 9/11, now the only thing that happened back then, 1986, there was a shooting in the Rome airport.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, my relatives were kind of afraid for me to go over there at the time. And I had a girlfriend. I just met this girl, sweet girl, sweet Catholic girl. She goes, it's another side story, but she's so afraid. She goes to her priest, whose name was Kevin, and she buys a cross for me.
Right.
And she has it blessed by Father Kevin for me to go because of the concern about the danger. And when I went to the airport, there were machine Uzis, you know, everywhere. They were all over the airport. But we didn't see any violence or any problems, any activity when we did our shoots. We went from Rome to San Benedetto del Tronto, which is on the Adriatic coast, to shoot some stuff there. And it was quite an experience. And then I went back again and that's where the posters, you know, me lifting in the gym. So we went to these sporting good places and went to Milan, and you know, he got me these. Of course, he made most of the money, but you know, he paid me a day rate. That's another long story, but anyway, quite an experience. But at the end, when I came back the second time, we're in the airport, and he starts writing off all the expenses that he was charging me for. We didn't agree to that, but what's I going to do? I'm at the airport with machine guns everywhere. We're striking the guy. So he goes, "Okay, this is for the lamp you broke. This is for the this for that. This is for the room. This is for food." I said, "Wait a minute. You're supposed to pay me day rate plus take care of the expenses." He says, "No, I did not agree to that. This is what you get." Wow. So I got paid like half the second time around, but it was great, you know, experience. And then years later, Miss, she had a title. She was a famous model. And as a middle-aged gal, she sends me a copy of the magazine. He never sent me anything. So I have a copy of Excelsior with me in it. I'm clothed pretty much. but there were semi-nude models with me, you know, like topless or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
At the Roman Aqueduct, all kinds of crazy, you know, and I'm, you know, with them with the Rambo gun. It was crazy stuff. What an experience for a 26, 7-year-old.
Seriously. That's insane. No, really. And that's one of the things that I find fascinating about you. And I have to really, if I was wearing a hat, I would take my hat off to you at this point. I just do want to thank you so much for your, I guess, your courage to step out of being a shy kid to going and doing what, right, Stacy? What you, following a passion that you had. And it just coincidentally happened to start off with a Rocky connection. And to me, I find it brilliant because I remember being in corporate America and reading about what you were doing. And I thought, man, wouldn't it be great if you could make a gig out of doing a Rocky thing? And of course, years later, I stumbled into it and here we are. So really, you really are a part of my own journey. And just thank you for that, Jade. Honestly.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, I look, you know, I've been following you since we had internet, Facebook and Instagram and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and I envy the fact that you live there locally, but I thought, you know what? He's a local guy. He should be doing rock. He should be doing that stuff. And, you know, Pete clients aren't always going to want to spend money on flying you around, you know? So, but and then the thing you've done with the tour. And so I'm fascinated about you. I have to give you a little props here because my gosh, the things you know, the things you pull out and make interesting about the Rocky character and the whole saga and all the, you know, Stallone's background, you know so much. It just only makes everybody that's a fan appreciate it that much more, you know. And so I got to thank you for what you do too, you know. And
thank you.
It is a really special thing, you know, in this thing we call life, which is very short, you know, and
very short.
Invite something with a passionate about, and you represent someone that, and even Sylvester himself calls you like the Rocky historian, right? He's labeled you these things. You know, he's a fan of you. So isn't that crazy? You were a fan of him. Now he's a fan of you. We're all fans of you.
If I were to travel back in time and tell my 11-year-old self in 1979 where I would end up, my head would explode. But you see, that's the thing. Kind of like to piggyback what you're saying, my thing always was the American Indian tradition of oral storytelling and pictures on the wall. So you would tell 10 people a story, and those 10 people will tell 20 people, and those 20 people will tell 40 people. But that's the thing. I've been so fortunate, and Sly has been so graceful to me and nice. He tells me the stories, or I do the research, and then I pass them on. That to me is the best thing I could ever do in the Rocky community, is just pass on stories, because he's not going to be around someday, you know, sadly. And so to keep that thing alive is one of the greatest things. And just thank you for saying that. Thank you so very, very, very much. I mean,
no, you deserve more. You deserve much more. I just can't think of anything right now at this moment because I got a relaxed brain, you know. Right. You know, and I'll just throw it at my age is in my excuse. Just my age.
Well, listen, at 55, I feel the memory pains. Okay, and that's just 55. So, Stacy, before I go into the next part, I want to talk about where are you at? What do you want to bring up?
Well, I think what I love. And, you know, who knows what goes on in other bubbles, but you guys don't have this spirit of competition. I love that you cheer each other on. And that is what I've noticed about all of us in this Rocky bubble. You know, like all the runners cheer each other on. They're not competing with each other. And here we have two impersonators, two, you know, guys that have dedicated their life to Rocky and Stallone. And you're cheering each other on and supporting each other because you understand how that inspiration has moved you on the inside. And so now you can, you know, bring it to the world, and you're bringing it to the world in Philadelphia. You're bringing it to the world in Texas. And it's just like this big group effort. And I love how
you're such a great segue, Stace, because Jade, you beat me out twice for Michelob and Bud Light. Twice. Yes, you did. I auditioned for both. And when I knew you got it, I said to myself, at least it went to a guy I like and admire and respect.
Right.
Totally. No, I sent in the audition.
He said that.
Yeah, I did. Stacy, you remember when this was going on? Okay, so guys, what I'm bringing up right now is Jade had done.
I had no idea. I know. I had no idea.
Hey, listen, this literally is my oxygen. Everything that happens in the Stallone Rocky bubble,
right?
Very rare things get past me. They do sometimes, but very rarely.
Right.
Anyways, you had done I believe it was the 2021 Super Bowl ad for Michelob Organic Seltzer or something. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer, right?
Superstars. Who knows what goes through their minds when the stakes are this high? When their legacy is on the line.
Sometimes you just want a hard seltzer.
A hard seltzer with no carbs.
With no sugar.
Because who needs that?
I want a hard seltzer that's USDA certified organic.
With no artificial aftertaste.
But in a world where most things seem real, sometimes they're not.
Cheeto.
Man, get off my boat.
That's fair.
New Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer is real. And it tastes that way. You're not real. You almost fooled me. Lookalikes. Phony.
New Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer. As real as it tastes. Oh, and I'm not Christopher Walken.
So it was the winter of 20. It was right the end of that the COVID year.
Yeah.
And we were doing auditions. Obviously, everybody was used to doing them, on Zoom or Skype or something like that. Right. So we did. So someone had reached out and then reached out to other lookalikes that I know, because it was just basically celebrity impersonator. It wasn't a Rocky casting, right? It was just Stallone or anything. It was just a general impersonator. And I was kind of shy, because a lot of times you audition. I don't have an agent. I don't audition for things regularly. I got away from that, going back to me being shy, and also just being tired of not the rejection, but the time it takes to put into auditions. It's a long time, right?
Right.
So I was really surprised that I got chosen, and I was elated, of course, and flew me out. And the interesting thing about that was my friends, so the movie The Starving Games made a lot of friends for me. An Arnold friend, a Bruce Willis friend that you mentioned, Eric, a Jason Statham, Jason Stanley, and then Gene Williams, Chuck Norris. So we had the five of us were across the front of the scene that we had in the Starving Games, the parody of the Hunger Games, where we played the Expendables. So everyone auditioned, pretty much, not everyone, but most. I got it. And then when I went out there, the first thing they had me do was they took me with a car to get a COVID test.
Okay.
Yeah, and I hadn't had one, and with the Q-tip up your nose, that sort of thing. And then it was a cool shoot. It was costuming, and it was kind of like it was like flying on Friday, and Saturday you get fitted,
right?
And then Sunday you shoot, and then they kept me through Monday into Tuesday to do another part of it. We did on a yacht, which they ended up tying all that stuff together. But yeah, it was cool. It was one of those rare things you get, and I was very, very, happy.
But you run into a major problem. Somehow, you chip your tooth.
That's where they did it.
I love this. I love this story. You're. Go ahead. Just briefly touch on that for me, because I love this story, Jade.
Oh my gosh. So, I know we could take up a lot of time and find out how you had these little investigative qualities.
Don't worry about it.
Oh my
I know people.
gosh.
Yeah, hey, forget about it. I know some people. I know Tony, who knows Bobby, who knows Jeannie, who knows a guy, who knows two other guys, who know you. So
oh my gosh, I love it. Wow. That's so funny. Okay, yeah. So I go that it's funny what you're telling me, but also I'm just thinking back. how did I get through this? Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I go, so that right next to the hotel, there's a mall, and in the mall, you've got shops, you got stores. And so I'm in the hotel for a few days. So I go and buy some things to bring in. And one of the things I bring in is a little yogurt, and it's got the little nuts, the crunched up nuts on top of the container. Right. So I'm eating this yogurt and I'm chomping on these little nuts and watching TV, and I hear crunch, crunch. And I go, something popped.
Oh.
and I go, wait a minute. This is not a nut. This is my tooth.
Oh, that's awful.
So I look in the mirror, and I've got imagine like a quarter of your front tooth gone.
Oh my God.
And I'm about to do
right before you're going to.
My first national commercial.
Right. Oh my God.
I mean, I've done commercials like regional and for car dealerships. First national commercial for a major product. Yeah. And I go, so you know what I do? I go, okay, maybe I can fill this in. Oh, first of all, I call the production people and I say, listen, I don't know if you've got a makeup artist or somebody that can fix this, like right. Can do some kind of special fix for me. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. We'll shoot anyway, kind of a thing. And I'm thinking, well, maybe you don't see my teeth, but every time I talked, you
catch it. Yeah.
So I go and I find some gum, and let me find the whitest gum I can find. So I came with this idea. So I get some gum, a little piece of it, and I chew it up. I get it nice and soft, and I push it out there behind it. Voila, it's fixed. Fantastic. It actually fills it in. Yeah, it filled it in. I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, my tongue is like, no, it's stuck because I pushed it from behind.
Yeah, right.
Like putty. So that's what I used. I used gum to fill in the gap for the commercial. So when you see me walking along, and I just have one main line, but it being light and feel like, natural. Right. I can't even remember the line now, but it was I didn't have a lot of lines. So so then I go back and I talk to my dentist, which you found out about. And I say, and I kept the chip.
That's crazy.
This happened to have the chip. And my dentist is amazing. I've known him since the 80s. We worked out at a gym together. And this guy's old school. This guy's been through so much. He's had cancer. He's had hip replacement. He's had and he works out all the time, but he's just been through so much. He's a fabulous Dr. Andy, a friend of mine. Anyway, somehow he can do this stuff. So he bonded it.
Wow.
Yeah. And he saved me thousands of dollars because this is bridge work.
So when you're in the grocery store, do you walk by the yogurt aisle and just go, son of a bitch?
Yeah. Guess what? I don't ever buy. I don't buy yogurt with nuts in it ever.
No more.
Never again.
No.
All right. So listen, I want to move on because I want to get to Rocky stuff since it's called the Rocky Files. But before I do that, one last thing about Jade. I want to hear how you evolved into the gym, Jade Fitness, all that. I want to hear all about that. How did this happen?
All right. So here I am. I'm in my 20s. I thought I would go back and finish a degree in pre-med and become an optometrist. My stepfather was president of the American Optometric Association. So I was supposed to take over his practice in Florida. So as I came out to Texas because I worked for my stepbrother in the oil and gas business. We were doodle buggers. We went out and looked for oil in West Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma. That's how I ended up in Dallas. One of my best friends, his family moved here. He moved here. He kept saying, I'm going to get you a job, get you a job, get you a job. And I had to find my own job. So eventually I got a job at a cable. I was a cable repair guy, meaning the construction part, like digging ditches, climbing poles and all that stuff. I did that for a few months. Then a guy at the gym says, why don't you come and work at this nightclub? It was called Monopoly's Park Place. It had a big Monopoly board. That's where I met a lot of people, at the nightclub. So I get this job at the nightclub. I get rid of the cable job, and I meet my first wife, and she's a beautiful young lady. And I meet her, and we're together for a couple of years, and we get married. And guess what? We get pregnant. And what am I doing? I'm flying around, and I'm pretending to be Rocky. here and there, doing commercials and doing appearances and, conventions and stuff. And I'm realizing it's just not steady enough income. I'm still working as a bouncer also. So a couple of my friends are in the personal training business. Larry North, who's very famous here locally, and he had he had a big infomercial across the country twice, and he did really well. And now he's retired from that. But I said, you know what? These guys, these good friends of mine, are doing this personal training stuff. So this is back in the 80s before anyone was doing it here. Yeah. So they're like 3 or 4 trainers. So I signed on. My wife was working at the President's Health Club, which turned to Bally's. Her service manager said, we're starting a new manager came in. I'm working the door as a bouncer at a fancy restaurant and bar, very, very cliquish, people lined up for it. The guy comes in, he says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this personal training division. And I said, yeah, like I told you, I'm a personal trainer. He goes, yeah, well, you need to come into the office and talk to us because we're going to start this up. So I knew I needed to get more steady income. That's how I got into the personal training business. But it works well with the Stallone characters staying in shape. Right?
Hey, take
exactly.
that.
Exactly. And fitness training and that's Rambo and Rocky and all that stuff. So it kind of works well, right? Like,
Jade, what is it about the character of Rocky? Why do you love Rocky? How has it inspired you?
I'm still, to this day, I am still like, some people say, what do you want to do when you grow up? And then I was like, people are trying to figure it out. I'm still like, I'm still pursuing it. I'm a momentum kind of a person. I strive for perfection, but I have the patience to keep working at something. So my goal when I first started when I started in the lookalike business, impersonation and all this, there weren't that many people doing it. Like I said, Ron Smith came out and he was doing these contests around the country. Yeah. I had won a contest at that Holiday Inn in Florida, but when I was working for the cable company and on the radio, this station I never listened to, it was a rock station. And I'm in my truck and I'm digging ditches. I'm digging a ditch and I'm fixing cable, doing something like that. I just remember we're working on a job and Ron Smith, there's an ad and he says, we're going to be at this nightclub, Ron Smith, celebrity. And I thought, God sent this to me. What is this? I never listened to this channel. And this lookalike contest, 1983-ish, $100 cash and a contract with Ron Smith Celebrity Lookalikes. Now remember, people weren't doing that. You didn't see lookalikes back in there. You didn't see them all over the place. They were
Vegas and Elvis. That was it.
Right. Yeah. Maybe there were some Madonnas coming out and some Michael Jacksons, but you didn't see. Okay. So my goal when I first started doing it, I thought, I've been told I look like them so much over the years. I want to be the best I can be. That was always my goal. Just do as much as I can and just be as best. At the same time, I enjoyed the acting and if I can get some other roles. But so that part of the Rocky spirit, whereas you don't give up, you give it your best shot. I can identify with that because I'm not I have a decent house, but I'm not a wealthy guy. I still have to work. I figure I'll be working until I'm 80. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You and me both.
I'm going to keep working.
Right.
So, I feel like I'm more personally like the Rocky character than Sylvester is. Of course, he was like that character before he did it big. He was struggling, right?
Yeah, of course.
And he talks about that. We wrote it, and all.
But you know what, Jade? And here's the thing: Stallone. So he goes through. He goes through his peak. Okay, in the 80s, Rocky and Rambo,
right?
And then there's almost 10 years where he's just golfing and raising his children.
Yeah.
Then nobody wants to do Rocky Balboa. Nobody wants him in this. He literally has a 26-year-old child attached to him, telling him what to do on the set of Rocky Balboa. The producers don't believe in Stallone anymore. He has to start all over again, but he's already made them billions of dollars. This is Sylvester Stallone. How must he have felt in that moment like an absolute failure? But he can't wallow. He's in the middle of Rocky Balboa, and he's got to bring it to life, and he does. Crazy.
Yeah, amazing. So I guess I've always related to the character. You know, when I first saw it, I was 17 years old. I was a senior in high school. I hadn't done anything. I saw this guy like everyone else related to this character. And then the more people told me I look like him, the more I had a chip on my shoulder that I wanted to prove I could do some things with it. Either that, be teased and feel bad about it, or make it into a positive. And then every movie that came out, I guess like you related to him in a different way as a young guy. You always said, I want to be Rocky, I want to be Rocky.
Yeah.
Right, I guess I did too. I guess so when you're an actor, you get to play these roles.
Right.
So I don't want, and I was how lucky I am to be connected to and love this character that's a positive role model instead of some slasher or some crazed evil character or something. But
do you have a favorite moment of all the Rockies? Do you have all 6 movies? Do you have a favorite moment?
I guess it really hit me in Rocky Balboa when he talks to his son. And at the time when it came out, I had kids, I had teenagers, and I'm trying to figure out how to get them going. I have 2 daughters and a stepson, but I raised my stepson from 5 years old. And these kids, at times they're just not motivated, and teenagers whine a lot, So I'm hearing them go, "Hey, the world ain't a sunshine and rainbow. It's very mean and nice place. You know the lines." And he said, "And you're better than that, And it just, I love that, I guess, and it works well. Anytime I give motivation to people in the character, so that was a gift from him to us, and you can tell today he talks about he loves it. And he took his daughters recently, right?
Yes, he did.
Right
to the very spot. Yeah.
And it's got to make him, but I don't know, man. It's just so much a part of me since, for the last, how many years now? So let's see, 1 carry the 4, 3, 6, 40,
640 years.
40 years.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just part of my life, man. I mean, some people probably think that we're crazy as impersonators that we get connected to the character so much. But I told my nephew when my grandmother passed away a few years ago, I said, when I go, Matt, I said, some people want to be cremated. No, I want to be buried in my Rocky outfit. I want to be in the robe and the trunks, and I want people to have a laugh and think this guy's nuts, but he always loved the Rocky character.
Right.
So
I love that.
So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to try to tell. I need to write it in the old will. I do have.
Yeah, you better put it in there because someone will pick out your best suit. You'll be there in a pinstripe suit. Now you want the robe. Maybe put your arms up in the gloves.
Yeah. Or they'll burn me up. They'll throw me in the oven and say, "We're going to sprinkle all over our pasta."
Stacy, before we wrap up and we let Jade get on a plane flying off to another convention because he's such a popular, in-demand guy, anything you want to ask him or bring up before I give him our last 2 questions?
Jade, thank you so much. You wear it literally and figuratively in all, not just Rocky, but Stallone. You went from job to job. You're not a stranger to hard work. Neither is Sly. You've been inspired by Rocky all along, and you've, tried to fold it into your life as much as you can. The sincerity in you is that's my favorite part of our guests. The sincerity of everyone on here that's why we do this. We want Sly to see how much you are inspired by him, his personal life, and by his characters, all of his characters, because you've impersonated them all,
right?
And I do hope Sly sees this so he knows how genuine you are in your dedication to all of his successes, and that you're inspired to impersonate him as part of your life. I hope he sees it, and I hope he can feel how genuine you are.
No, I appreciate that. That's important too. I've met him. I've only run into him a couple of times. So when they opened Planet Hollywood here, there was a big crowd, obviously, and he comes in, he rides in on a Longhorn, and there's a place where you can go up on some steps, look over, and I get up there, and there's a Bridget Nielsen lookalike standing next to me, and I go, and we're looking at each other like, you look like Bridget Nielsen, you look like, hey, yeah, and I had an envelope, I had pictures and a letter and stuff. I just want to give to him. So I go through, the kids are getting autographs, and Sylvester's like signing all these autographs. And I feel bad, a little bad, but I barged through and I'm going to push it through the kids. And I've got my envelope. I go, here, Mr. Stallone, this is for you. This is for you. And I'm kind of doing the Rocky voice. Well, this is for you, Mr. Stallone. And he finally looks up. He takes the envelope, winks, and hands it to his bodyguard. So I think he started to get to know who I was. And then the next time, Warner Brothers hired me and flew me out to LA to do a Get Carter lookalike contest. I was to be a judge, which is totally weird. So I go and I buy a suit like he wore, and I'm supposed to be a judge, and these people are coming up that look anything like him. But one guy was really animated and he looked like a nerd. So I said, he's the one. This is at Man's Chinese Theater. It was out Man's Chinese Theater.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
So I got a leather jacket for me from my dad, who was alive at the time, and he lived out in the Long Beach, and movies and posters, and Warner Bros. Gave me all this stuff. They said, Mr. Stallone knows you're going to be doing this. And I went to radio stations promoting it too. You're going to go to a grand opening in a small town. He's going to go to the main grand opening, but he may show up here. It's kind of a weird deal, but he knows about you. So I know over time he knew about me, I guess.
Nice.
And then the next thing was the set of Grudge Match with Robert De Niro. So I had done the Starving Games. The same PR lady was wearking on that movie. We're looking, we need a stand-in. We need to stand in a tall, we need like a boxing double. And she says, I got the guy for you. His name's Jade Roberts. He's in Dallas. Okay, they flew me in. Wow. So I show up at the soundstage, and I'm talking to people, and they say, you need to talk to him. Producer sends me this guy. He's the boxing coordinator. He said, I'm going to have to, interesting guy. He actually had sunglasses on the whole time. And I found out later, he just had problem with his eyes. He had to wear sunglasses. So he said, I'm going to teach you how to fight like Sly. So the actor that played De Niro's son was going to be the younger version of De Niro. They needed someone taller and younger to play the younger version of Sly. They ended up, long story short, not using me. For a couple of weeks, I was in. And then they went into direction. They ended up using CGI. And it's funny, the CGI guys came in at the end of it and said, he says, yeah, Jay, you're looking great. What we're going to do is we're going to put Stallone's face on your body. And I'm thinking, oh, sure. They don't need me. I'm thinking to myself, they don't need me. They're just going to put his face on my body. So I see, Stallone comes out. He's coming in and out. And I go, hey, I meant to be able to see him. I know when I did Moonlighting with Bruce Willis, I wasn't on the same scene with him. I met him.
That was you in Moonlighting with Bruce Willis when you were on the ringside. Hey, what was Bruce Willis?
David,
go for it. That is the first time I realized that was you. That's right, Moonlighting.
Yeah. Listen to him. Hey, yo, David, go for it. Yeah, that's it. We'll do it right.
Jade, so you're watching Stallone. He's going back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth. So he comes out, and I go, this is my chance. So I got to say hello. So he comes out, and he walks by me this time. He walks by me into the soundstage, and it's kind of dark. And I'm standing there with another guy, and I hear this, yo. And he walks by, Sly walks by, and he throws something in the trash, and he walks in. He's limping a little bit. So I asked this guy, I said, did you hear what I just heard? Because I'm thrilled. He actually said something to me, right? He's giving me a hard time. He's busting my balls, you know?
Yeah, right.
He goes, yeah, I think he heard him say yo or something. I said, yeah, he did. So when he came back out this time, I said, I gotta shake his hand. You know, I was trying to be polite and standoffish, professional. Yeah, of course, I'm used to being on movie sets. I've been on a lot of movie sets. I ain't gonna bother Mr. Stallone. You know, he wants to talk to me. He's gonna. So he comes out. I go, Mr. Stallone. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Jade Roberts. He shakes my hand. He looks at me and he says, I know. And then he just walks off. like, well, of course he knows. He knows everything. He's like, he knows they're not going to bring people in and not tell him what's going on. Right. So they're going to, he likes to, right, hands-on. He's been a director, right? Writer, director.
Right. Yeah, all of it. My big question. So we have two questions that we always close out our show with. Right. So the first question is, you're going through your day, whatever it is you're doing, cutting the grass, grocery shopping, all of a sudden, Rocky pops into your mind. What is the image you see in your mind when Rocky pops in? Is it Rocky 1? Is it a Creed Rocky? Is it Balboa, Rocky 3? How do you see him?
If Rocky pops into my mind, generally, it's going to be the first, like the first Rocky, where he's like, I just love, I mean, I love that. I mean, the movie is the best. The first one, it's like, hey, I mean, the whole character, it sets up his whole character, right? Everything he says, like, hey, yo, Cluff and Link, hey, yeah, hey, you get the flies caught in the throat. I mean, and yo, Adrian, you mind, so I was thinking maybe we could go out and do something, whatever, you know the lines better than I do. I mean, we could go on, and I'm going to make it brief, but when I first started doing the voice, I had a friend so when the Pesnell's Gym and the Old Chicago Pizza thing came out, I was on the radio. That's where I ended up borrowing the outfit. And a friend of mine, he was just an amateur photographer. He started taking photos of me, and he goes, and he bought he had the album with all the lines from the movie. It was on vinyl,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, of course.
And it was like, and he played it. And he said, and I had a tape recording. He said, when I play this, I'm pretty sure it was vinyl. I mean, this is back in early 80s.
Yeah.
And he says, play it and redo because I was trying to get some of the lines and some of that sound like them. And it was one of my favorite ones came to be where Mick's in his apartment. He comes up and he's kind of begging him to let him manage him, right? He says, where were you? Where were you? And, took my locker and he goes, how come you never come to my house before, Mick? What? Did my house stink? That's right, it stinks. I don't know why I always love
That's
that.
one of your favorite scenes, isn't it?
Yeah. Because he's pissed. He's hurt. His feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
And he's pissed. And he's like, Mick, he's like, where were you? You took my locker away and everything. And now you're coming up here? You're coming up to my apartment,
Right.
And I don't know. Anyway, just came to mind. And so the Rocky, the first character, come on. It's just classic. I love it. He wrote it. He wrote it in 2 days, he says?
Something like that. Something like that. All right, now listen. Last question. This is the finale. So, you're at an elevator.
Mm-hmm.
You go in, Sly's in the elevator. You've got 30 seconds. You go 2 floors. What do you say to him?
Mr. Stallone, I don't know if you noticed, but I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. And he's going to go, I know. And I'm going to say, hey, throw me a bone. I'd probably kid around with him. I'd probably say, I could play your younger brother or your son or something, I'd love to do that. I'd be very inexpensive. I would try to make him laugh.
Right.
And I would, because, obviously you can say, I love your work. I mean, come on. So
right.
I would be like, Drew, or I'd say, hey, you remember me on the set of Grudge Match when you said, hey, you didn't recognize me this time. What's wrong? I don't know. I would say something funny to him.
You make him laugh.
Yeah, I
Gotcha.
mean, I watch all of his stuff. He did like something, a comment one time, like on Instagram,
Oh, that's good.
Instagram with his daughters and that stuff, And I love the fact that he's get this relationship with his 3 daughters. I have 2 daughters. I can relate. They will bust you. And he says they don't let you get by with anything. They make him feel like just a regular person, because they bust him up. They bust.
Yeah. I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been a pleasure. Next time one of us is in the near vicinity, we got to get together for dinner. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to let you go now, but I'm going to have Stacy text you my phone number because she has your number. So she's going to text you my phone number. And whenever you're around, let me know. Let's get together, brother. I want to thank you so much for the love, for showing up. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Jade.
Thank you, Stacy, so much for your professionalism, and Mike, and for your graciousness, Mike. Because as Stacy said, we're in competition, but we're not.
Right.
We're, we have our specialties. Let's say.
I agree.
And,
there's a lot of room under the Rocky tent.
Yeah.
I am not an actor. I don't have that in me. I do my tours and I show up at the steps and have some fun. That's what I do. We are different, and there is room for us to do that. And I cheer you on when I see you do anything online. I'm proud of you, Jade. I'm just proud of you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you too. And we're like brothers in Rocky, or Rocky and Rocky brothers. You know what I mean? That's why I look at it. But I knew you were a nice guy, so otherwise I wouldn't even done this. But thank you for having me. I don't want to hold us up anymore. So and I just could, have me back, and then we'll talk about the Starving Games.
I can't wait to go into Starving Games.
And Tulsa King. I'm starting to do Tulsa King commercials too.
I cannot wait. Jade, until then, like we always say, keep punching. Bye, Jade.
Bye.
Thank you, buddy.
Great hair, right?
Hey, not bad.
What a sweetheart. Oh my gosh.
No, Jade is a lovely, lovely guy, and he is someone that I've spoken to Sue about a lot. And it's I wish I got to know Jade sooner. But listen, hopefully I have a few more years left on this planet doing the Rocky stuff. And I am looking forward to hanging with Jade at some point, just to talk about not even so much Rocky stuff, just life. Talk about life. Because I love people who are just kind and self-aware and just want to put goodness out there.
Right. Well, I mean, you're both doing that. And when he does come to Philadelphia, I'm assuming he'll do your tour. And you guys have got to do a lot of film and video.
I will totally.
And go to the Victors. I mean, that you guys should go live. Actually, you guys should do a live. That would be a ton of fun. Absolutely, you should.
That seriously would. And talk about another ton of fun. I forgot. This is a huge problem. Expendables 4 just came out, and there was Tim and I had our deleted scene in there, but we also had another of our Rocky Files fans in there. Joanne actually was part of the crew. She was supposed to lead, but there was a little jealousy. Megan Fox, who ended up being the leader of the Expendables in 4 for a short time, she was a little intimidated by Joanne. But anyways, this is Joanne's promo shot for the movie. Yeah.
Awesome.
Gunner. I mean, she feel
the thunder.
She kicked ass. She really did. So, Megan Fox, whatever.
Forget it.
Joanne, number 1.
Joanne's the bomb. Love Joanne. Oh, what a great episode.
What a great episode. Now, I forgot to ask Jade where we can find him, but I'm sure we'll put up his all his stuff.
But thank you. Yeah, Jade, thank you so much. So it's in his bones.
Sure.
Part of his life. He just oozes all the things.
He does.
I love him.
He really does. He really does. Well, we're out of here.
One more thing, just a reminder for Backtrack Cinema, with Jason Nike. He is looking for videos, and he said anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes, so it gives you a lot of time to talk. He wants to know what your favorite Rocky moment is, so send that to Backtrack Cinema, BT Cinema on Instagram. But yeah, he's doing a top 50 Rocky moments, and he wants to hear from the bubble, and he's gonna do a big rundown with all of our own video clips, so send that his way.
Beautiful.
That's all she wrote.
Are we out of here?
We're out of here now.
Stacy, where can people find you?
I am at Had Me at Yo on Instagram, as well as The Rocky Files, and on Facebook at The Rocky Files Podcast.
Boom.
Michael,
I wrote a little book called Cue the Rocky Music. It's not bad. You can find it at barnesandnoble.com, xlibris.com, and Amazon, anywhere books are sold. There's a little documentary about my life that we talked about earlier. Jade was very kind about it, called The Pretender, by my good buddy Jimmy Toscano and Danny Janino, who they did a great job with this movie. I love those guys.
Fabulous.
And you can find me at the Yo Philly Film Tour on Instagram and in TikTok. So check us out, guys, and you can always tune in every Thursday right here, 7 o'clock, link in bio on YouTube. Until then, keep
Punching.